Hey YouTube, I want to discuss something that is dear to our hearts, and it's stroke. Although stroke get, causes you to, this is most disheartening to have a stroke. You use your strength and stamina. It's been 1.5 years since I had a stroke, and I'm still recovering. It's a slow and progressive process, but it's not linear. The methods of recovering from a stroke is definitely not linear. Well, I want to discuss the different things that you have to do to rehab. You need to talk to your neurologist and get some kind of plan what they feel would help you from not having another stroke or have the original stroke occurred. If it's already occurred, talk to your physical therapist. They can devise an exercising plan so you can get some of the strength back in your muscles and your movement together. When you first get to a physical therapist, they're just wanting you to walk. And then you have to develop strength by probably isometric exercise. Then you got the occupational therapist. The occupational therapist tries to get you back to everyday living environment and being peaceful and enjoying the independence you once took for granted and the mobility that you once took for granted to get it to reoccur. Then you had a speech therapist. Well, the speech therapist initiates and helps you with your swallowing, helps you with your speech, helps you with your cognitive thinking, and collectively, they can help you recover. You have low intensity aerobic exercise like walking that you have to get to gradually to rebuild your endurance. You got light resistance. And that's to build your muscle strength back to where it maybe once was. These can be body weight exercises, which are beneficial. They don't have to be load-bearing exercises. Then you have your nutrition and hydration. Nutrition is very important because remember, one of your vessels in your blood has blocked the blood from reaching your brain. Reaching your brain. That blockage temporarily stopped the oxygen and blood to coming from to your brain, which impaired some of your ability for either movement, to handle stress, to move with a functional and intentional way as you once did, that you learned probably from being a baby and you grew into. Now you got to redirect the pathways. Now you have to get the neurons and dendrites in your body, which are the cells, to connect, to find a different path. Because those areas that you had in the beginning and those paths may have been destroyed. So when life hands you a lemon, make lemonade. And that's what I'm doing now currently with having experienced a stroke 1.5 years ago. One of the things I really don't like is October 10th was the day of my stroke. That's my daughter's birthday. That disturbs me something disturbs me. I was in the hospital from October 10th until November 3rd. That was inpatient rehabilitation. I couldn't move my left side. Had to go through rehabilitation. And I couldn't move my foot on my left or my hand probably an inch or two. when it occurred, I went to buy a DJI drone. I didn't feel like I was comfortable taking the freeway to the store, so I took the street. When I came back, I felt even more uncomfortable. And I definitely didn't take the freeway, took the street. Once I got home to pay for this expensive drone that I wanted to enjoy recreational and flying and hovering and cameraing, I called my wife and told her I felt very uncomfortable and think I had having a stroke. I didn't really know the symptoms of the stroke, but I called her. She said, call the ambulance and take a rest. I said, I'll call the ambulance, but I'm not resting. I don't want to sleep on this. So I went outside and waited for the ambulance. Fortunately, I stayed awake and didn't sleep, and more strokes didn't occur. And I walked to the ambulance, but I couldn't get up into the ambulance. I had to have assistance. Then once I got in, I was in a gurney, and they administered a drug to me because I guess I was in the first 4 hours, which was very important when you have a stroke, to break up the stroking effect. And when I got off the ambulance and ride to the hospital, of course I was still in the gurney. And I went to a bed, I went to the emergency room. Then I waited and waited and waited probably a couple of hours. Then I got my own room. But when I got my room, I couldn't walk anymore. I couldn't even use the restroom, either walking to it or the movement in general within my bodily system. This was alarming. I stayed in inpatient inpatient rehabilitation until November 3rd. Then I was released to outpatients recovery. And I went daily for 5.5 hours until January 2nd. Now, the company wanted me to stay longer, but I felt that was just something that benefited them from insurance. I was paying and insurance was paying. I spent 5 hours a day there, but I only saw the occupational therapist 1 hour, the speech therapist 1 hour, and I saw the physical therapist 1 hour. Why was I there 5 hours? I had lunch there, and I had a recreational hour. I didn't feel that was right. So for January 2nd, I decided to take a job and be a night auditor. It's a minimum amount of auditing, but I could walk and I would talk to people. I felt my recovery would still continue, but now I'm working 8 hours a day or a night, and I worked only 4 days a week, but I was interacting in a normal environment with people, not around others who had strokes and other injuries that were recovering. Well, in doing that, I thought, well, I might not get paid much, but I'm getting paid instead of paying for the stroke recovery. I just took and implemented what I had learned there into my own routine, including cognitive thinking. I bought puzzles and books to read that were indicative of what the speech therapists had provided. I had physical equipment that was indicative of what the physical therapist required, and I continued the path on my own. Additionally, the occupational therapists, I incorporated some of their necessary rehabilitation methods to better myself. I went from a what did I have? A wheelchair, to a walker, to a quad cane, to no cane. Today I walk with no cane, but I keep the quad cane near. I had to reacquaint myself with driving. That was difficult because I drove very slow and everybody wanted to blow their horn. And in actuality, I felt like finally I'm going the speed limit because I think I drove fast in the beginning also. I noticed I didn't want to be on the right side too far because I couldn't see. I wanted to be on the left side, closer to the line. I even got stopped by an officer wondering why I was hugging the left lane so much. And I told him I was apprehensive about going to the right because I did not know as much and couldn't see as well as I could on the left side. He, of course, didn't give me a ticket. I told him about nutrition and exercise, and he should continue his efforts or either start his efforts in those areas so he wouldn't have to experience what I'm experiencing. Well, the purpose of this video is to educate you guys on some of this experience I've had. Also, I've had formal and informal education on nutrition and exercise. I want to inform you of the right direction you should go in reference to that and how I've changed my eating habits so it would not occur again, and the medication that I take. And this is something in the future I want you to learn now so it will not happen in the future.